So I recently experienced this fairly brutal bit of flaking from this woman I had gone on a second date with, and just wanted to talk about it for a couple of minutes. Now, I know that not all women are flakes, but I also know that all men get flaked on. It's kind of one of those ironclad rules of life. So this wasn't actually my first rodeo with flaking. But this particular experience rocked me back on my heels a little bit. Number one, because I wasn't really expecting it from this woman. But number two, because I really wasn't happy with the way I responded. I responded like a man without any optionality, and that is never a good idea. Well, let me explain. Had a first date with this woman. Went pretty well. We had brunch together, walked around the lake by my house. I was out of town the next weekend. She was busy. We texted back and forth. Set a second date at a nice Italian joint. Had a nice dinner together, and when dessert rolled around, I said, hey, how about we get dessert to go, take it to my place, see how we like hanging out alone together. She said, great idea, let's do that. So I ordered up some raspberry sorbet, paid the bill, and we went on our way. 45 minutes later, no sign of this woman. I get a text saying, hey, I swung back by my house to change my shoes. And just so you know, she lived like a mile on the other side of the restaurant. So now she's farther apart than when we'd finished dinner. Now, there is a moment where all men know this ain't happening. And that was the moment that I knew. And the only proper response in that particular moment was to say something along the lines of, well, if that's the case, I'm just going to go ahead and make other plans for the rest of my night and wish you the best. That was the proper response. And instead I said, well, text me when you're on the way. Now, why would I do something so silly? Well, now I realize that I did it because in that moment, I was experiencing a scarcity mindset. I didn't have any other dates on the horizon, and I had 2 weeks, 2 dates, and a couple $100 into this woman by this point. I had time, I had money, I had effort, and I was trying to salvage that time and that effort. Anyway, another 45 minutes goes by. She texts me again and says, hey, I'm feeling a little bit tipsy. Do you just want to come over here? And again, still in a bit of a scarcity mindset, I said, well, okay, text me the address. That address never came. Another hour goes by. I just go ahead and I go to bed. Next day I wake up. There's a text waiting for me from this woman from about 4 o'clock in the morning that says, I fell asleep. Are you still up, babe? Now, we need to pause. I don't know who babe is. This woman and I were not at a babe phase of our relationship. Could have been for me. Could have been for the guy she'd made plans with for after dinner with me, and she flaked on him too, for all I know. I went ahead and told her, with a clear mind, after a night's sleep, hey, I'm not okay with being left hanging like that last night, so I'm just going to wish you the best, and I just moved on. Now, to the scarcity versus abundance mentality. I heard a guy say not too long ago, what would you put up with if you had 2 other women waiting to date you? Okay, what would you put up with if you had 2 other women waiting to date you? Now, it's not easy to have 2 other women waiting to date you. And to be honest, most men are not going to have 2 other women waiting to date them. But any man could act as though he had 2 other women waiting to date them. Here's what I mean. In 12-step programs, we say things like, fake it till you make it. And what that means is you say the words and you do the work and you keep doing the work until you start getting some results in your life. You fake it until you make it. Therapists say something along the lines of, you can't really think your way into a new way of acting, but you can act your way into a new way of thinking. So if you were to begin acting as though you have optionality and abundance in your life, pretty soon you will start believing you have some abundance in your life, and you will start conducting yourself as though you have that abundance in your life. So there you go. The difference between a scarcity mentality and an abundance mentality. And in case you were curious, yes, the sorbet was delicious. Best of luck to you.